Before 2016, it was a breeze to open a non-resident bank account in Bulgaria. You could show up at the bank with a passport and have an account in under an hour. But today, banks have new rules in place that make non-resident account opening much more difficult. Well, in this video, we're going to show you how to open a non-resident bank account in Bulgaria. We'll also reveal some exciting, little-known opportunities and advantages about Bulgarian banking and what most people miss. And we'll detail the benefits that people and businesses are after when trying to open accounts here. But before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get alerted every time we post new non-resident banking opportunities. To help you get started with banking in Bulgaria, we have a free non-resident banking starter guide. It's designed to help non-resident and foreigners open bank accounts. So don't forget to download your copy using the link in the description below. Now, back to opening a non-resident bank account in Bulgaria. So, back in the 1990s, all Bulgarian banks were state-owned. And they did exactly what all state-owned banks are designed to do. They made massive loss-making loans to poorly managed state enterprises. Success! With no oversight, zero lending policies, and deep-seated corruption, it was a cash grab for a select few, until it all came crashing down. In the wake of this disaster, the banking sector was restructured and foreign banks bought in. In fact, today, more than 75% of Bulgaria's banks are foreign-owned. But now that things are running smoothly, you might be asking yourself, why should I open a bank account in Bulgaria? Well, that's a fair question and one that needs to be addressed. Beyond being a last resort option to open accounts within the EU, Bulgaria actually offers some benefits. First, access to SEPA transfers, short for Single Euro Payments Area. This is how EU banks make cross-border transfers. It's like an ACH transfer if you're in the US, or making a domestic transfer to another bank in your home country. So, people want to access SEPA transfers because it's a super cheap way of sending money within the EU. If you're making intra-EU transfers without it, you're probably losing a lot of money on fees. The second reason is currency diversification. You see, Bulgarian banks are extremely comfortable using other currencies like US dollars, British pounds, and of course euros. So, if your European banking options are limited and you need to hold multiple currencies, a Bulgarian bank account might be the option for you. Third is being able to access a European bank account. As mentioned, if you're struggling to open accounts in other EU member countries, Bulgaria might be your best shot. That's because other EU countries can be very difficult for non-residents to open bank accounts. But certain non-residents might be able to open a non-resident bank account in Bulgaria. The next reason is to access backup bank accounts for diversification. Some people don't want to hold 100% of cash in an EMI like Revolut, Monzo, Moniz, or N26. Others want geographic diversification. Others may just want a bank account in Europe. Whatever the case, opening a non-resident bank account in Bulgaria can help you diversify. Sure, it's not your first choice, but for some people with limited banking choices, it's an option. The fifth reason is that Bulgaria has low personal and corporate taxes. Surprisingly, Bulgaria's tax code is really attractive. Both personal and corporate tax is a low, flat 10% tax, one of the lowest in Europe. That alone makes Bulgaria an attractive low-key tax residency option for Europeans from higher tax countries, especially those who are forced to move to another European country before moving to a low-tax country outside of Europe. Bulgaria is also beneficial for European business owners looking to lower their tax bill. The sixth reason is that Bulgaria is welcoming to cryptocurrency traders and investors. European traders, entrepreneurs, and investors who struck it big in crypto, who are now looking to cash out of their holdings in a tax-efficient manner, could find Bulgaria interesting. With low tax rates and appealing CFC rules, Bulgaria can be a useful jurisdiction for wealth restructuring and residency acquisition. Finally, remote non-resident account opening. Yes, Bulgaria is one of the options that you can explore to open non-resident bank accounts in the EU remotely. If you need a European bank account for any of the benefits outlined above, and you want to open that account remotely, this might be an option. That said, there are other remote account opening options available, including Georgia, Poland, and more. Contact us via our website if you have any questions about which European country might be best for you. Okay, let's put the benefits aside for a minute and dive into the challenges and difficulties of banking in Bulgaria. Like many post-Soviet countries, Bulgaria has some issues that need to be addressed before opening accounts, especially if you're a foreigner or non-resident. That doesn't mean you can't do it. On the contrary, there are plenty of service providers that would love to take your money. But that's only one of the challenges you'll face when you open a non-resident bank account in Bulgaria. So let's take a closer look. First up, service provider scams. Many service providers claim that it can cost between 500 and 1,000 euros to open a bank account in Bulgaria. That seems a bit rich, especially when you compare it to the average monthly salary of 900 euros and the fact over 65% of Bulgaria's 7 million population have bank accounts. Next, there's still a communist hangover. Many expats who have lived here for decades often say Bulgaria has a low-trust, bureaucratic culture. Things take longer than they should, and the country isn't as digitized as its neighbors. You also need to watch out for inflated pricing amongst lawyers and accountants if you don't speak Bulgarian. Like everywhere, using inflated pricing is common when selling to foreigners. Third, there is a wide spectrum of KYC and AML procedures. As you know, EU banks are heavily regulated, but they can often set their own internal procedures and application requirements. Sure, there are similarities, but banks in Bulgaria have wildly different requirements when it comes to supporting documents, translations, authentication, and residential ties. So make sure you know what's needed before applying. Next, and not surprisingly, Bulgarian bankers don't really like non-residents. After a banker finds out you're a non-resident and can't speak Bulgarian, it's possible they just might turn you away, or ignore you, or tell you this branch can't open accounts for foreigners. This is because opening a bank account for a non-resident in Bulgaria requires more time, more effort, and more paperwork. And simply put, the banker might not want to deal with you, but in most cases, it is possible. So, what do you think? Is Bulgaria on your list of places to open a non-resident bank account in Europe? Well, if it is, or you want to sort out your other European banking options, we can help. All you have to do is join our flagship service, GlobalBanks Insider. With GlobalBanks Insider, you'll get instant access to our entire archive of banking intelligence reports, access to the GlobalBanks database, home to more than 250 banks from 50+ countries, including detailed bank profiles, client preferences, and a whole lot more. Finally, you'll also get real-time analyst support from our team of experts, ready to answer your most pressing banking questions and to make suggestions on which banks in Bulgaria and elsewhere will best meet your objectives. To get started, just click the link in the description below to learn more about GlobalBanks Insider. And before signing off, don't forget to hit subscribe so you get alerted every time we share new banking opportunities. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.